What is going on, everybody? We are back with another edition of Late Night with ECB number 2, and it's a little bit different because now I'm hosting this motherfucker, and I got a webcam now, so now y'all can see my beautiful background. You can see all my little lights here, my ECB little like plaque thing right there. That's cool. Um, but yeah, we're back. Josh, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. It's nice to have a bunch of good games on tonight that we've already watched, and we got a couple coming up.
Yeah, today was probably the best day when it comes to marquee matchups. I mean, we had a bunch of them. We're still not finished. Villanova and Michigan State's on right now in the second half. And we still got
Yeah,
UCLA taking
I
on
got that on behind me. State's
you as
up
well.
39-31.
Yep, and we still got UCLA taking on Illinois. Last game of the night, 9:30 tip-off time, getting it started. So, still got another marquee matchup. But to start it off, we got to talk about the first really marquee game of the night. Indiana and a barn burner out of Xavier. What a game, first off. I mean, it was back and forth the entirety of the game. I'm pulling up some stats real quick, but
I got them
Indiana,
right here.
Indiana gets the job done 81 to 79 on the road. Josh, talk to me about it.
Yeah, we were looking forward to this because it was going to be both teams' first challenges of the year, especially Indiana. I mean, they played some cupcakes. They haven't played in a week. They played their last game, I think it was last Wednesday or something, and they've basically been off for a week and a couple days plus. We knew coming into this that it was going to be a hostile environment, first time away from Assembly Hall this year, and we wanted to see how they would respond, especially the freshmen. We wanted to see how Malik Renault and Jalen Hood-Schifino would play against a real opponent outside of Assembly Hall and their first real big-time college basketball atmosphere. And I thought one of the two showed up. I thought the other one was solid. Didn't really do anything spectacular, didn't really do anything terrible, but the one being Malik Renault, I think his name really got thrust into the spotlight tonight. I thought he was phenomenal, and we're talking about the young guys. It all starts and ends with the old guys for his Indiana team, and there was nobody better on the floor than Trace Jackson Davis.
No, I don't think Indiana wins this game if it wasn't for what TJD put up tonight. He had a very efficient game, 13 to 16 from the field, 4-6 from the free throw line, 30 points. He dropped a 30 bomb on the road. That's something, and pretty much just all really no jump shots. I mean, he had a couple jump shots there late, couldn't really
None.
hit them. But most of his points came in the paint and those four free throws that he had. So what a monstrous game that he had. Him
And
and
real
Xavier
quick,
Johnson. Go ahead.
real quick, let's talk about Trace because we talked all summer coming into this year. We wanted to see a development and progression of him shooting jump shot. The shot clock was running late. It didn't even hit the rim. But we still want to see it. It's don't. But we're going to go 13 of 16, all basically right around the rim off of putbacks, dunks, and layups. Go for a 30 piece every night. I mean, I guess you don't have to shoot the jumper too often.
No, not at all. And Xavier Johnson, he played his ass off. 29 minutes, 7 to 8 from the field. He had shot two 3 pointers. He made both of them. 7 to 10 from the free throw line. Seven boards for him. A couple assists. He did have 4 turnovers though, and a lot of those turnovers came in the late stages of the second half. Some stupid decisions he's trying to force that was never even going to come close to being a good pass. Almost allowed Xavier to come back and win this game. But talking about Xavier, though, they had a very good night from pretty much their entire team. They had 5 guys in double figures. Kunkel coming off the bench, played 28 minutes, had 13
He was
points. Hit
big
some,
time.
yeah, he went 3 of 5 from the 3 point line. Boom hit a couple big time shots late in the game to bring Xavier within a couple possessions there. He had 15 as well. Jones ended up fouling out. He ended up fouling out, but he did have 13. And the front court of Xavier, Jack Nunge and Zach Freemantle, both of those guys were beast mode in this game. Especially in that first half, Indiana could not get them out of the paint. And even if they would just hit mid-range jump shots on them. Those guys had 29 points apiece. Or 29
Yeah,
points together, excuse me.
yeah, especially like you said, the first half, they were phenomenal. And you got to give credit to the guards for setting them up, feeding them, putting them in the right spots. And Fremantle and Nuns just played around the rim. They kind of bullied their way into the basket. And even defensively, they did a nice job of pushing Trace outside, making him catch the ball like 14, 15 feet away from the rim. I thought they had really good nights. Of course, they tailed off a little bit in the second half. First half, like you mentioned, they were really good. And back to Adam Kunkel real quick. You know, he comes off the bench, plays 28 minutes, 13 points. You mentioned the 3 of 5 from 3. But I thought his constant movement, the sets that they were running, the pin downs, the constant movement off the ball when he was on the ball, making the right reads. And he came within a layup of going ahead or having Xavier be put ahead with, what was it, 10 or 11 seconds to go. And it just so happened Malik Renault got over and just changed the course of the shot just enough to cause him to miss. I thought Adam Kunkel was tremendous. But outside of him, Xavier basically got no bench points. Desmond Claude, the freshman, got 2 points. Nobody else off the bench scored. The other freshman, Cam Kraft, didn't score. Former Indiana man Jerome Hunter didn't score. Not a whole lot of bench production outside of Adam Kunkel. But I thought Xavier, I think this is one of those cases where they lose the game, but come out better in people's eyes afterwards. It's one of those rare occasions.
Yeah, they impressed me a lot. I predicted them to win this game. It's their first loss of the season, and it's not a bad loss when you lose to a top 15 ranked IU squad with a lot of potential. And you mentioned bench points with Xavier. Yeah, they had 15 bench points, majority of that coming from Kunkel. But same thing goes for Indiana. They had 13 bench points, and most of them came from Malik Reneau. Jordan Geronimo did have 1 point, but most of the bench points came off of one guy for both teams. So it wasn't a lot of production outside of the starting lineup for both squads.
Well, I do want to add something to that on the Indiana side, though. Although the scoring there outside of Malik Renault, you looked at that game, especially a guy like Trey Gay, played 22 minutes off the bench. He scored 0 points, 2 boards, 4 assists with 1 foul. If you've seen that, just looking at the box score, you would think, he didn't really do much. But the 22 minutes he played was massive because he was in the key stretch lineup when Indiana closed the game before they let Xavier make that miraculous comeback. When they stretched the lead to whatever it was 6, 7, 8 points, he was over with that 5. It was him, Trace Jackson Davis, Malik Renault, Xavier Johnson, and I can't remember who the other. Oh, Miller Kopp. It was those 5 that was on the floor, and Trey Galloway played a big piece in that. Doing the dirty stuff, what he's known for, setting screens, and more importantly, in defensive end. So the box score doesn't always tell the tale. He didn't score a point, but he came up massive late in the game. So I think you can still get good bench production even without scoring and stuff in the stat sheet.
Let's talk about those later stages in the game. Let's talk about Malik Renault missing 2 free throws that would have put him up 82-79. They were late in the game. He missed both of those free throws, and I can see it in his eyes that he was nervous. Big-time freshman on the road, his first true road game, Indiana's first big test of the season so far. You can tell in his eyes he was nervous, and he ended up missing both free throws, and it allowed Xavier a chance to, with no timeouts, they had to get the rebound and just go. With no timeouts, they went, and Kunkel almost made that layup. I think he probably would have made a layup if Zach Fremantle didn't get in his fucking way. Because, my God, the dude, I don't know what he was thinking. He tried to slide over and try to do like a little pick play. But in that situation, when Kunkel's going downhill, you just got to get the fuck out of the way and let him go.
Yeah, you got to move. You got to move.
Yeah, he ended up missing it. They got the rebound. Xavier Johnson got the rebound and ended up fouling him. And I thought it was close. He definitely got the arm, but I was like, that could be a jump ball. He almost got all ball. But then you can see there later he got the arm. So it was close.
And then it wasn't just Malik who missed. I mean, you're right. He absolutely looked nervous. But Xavier missed a couple, too.
Yeah.
Xavier missed a couple. And then that final possession, Indiana's up 2, 81-79. Xavier gets the ball out of bounds on the baseline. Try to throw a full court pass. I don't remember the exact time. I wanted to say there was like 2.9 left, 2.8.
2 seconds.
And they had time to catch the ball going towards the rim, make a dribble, and get a better shot. They were going to try to throw the baseball pass, and Indiana stuck somebody on the ball, them bounder, and deflected the pass. Indiana comes up with it. I thought the one time Sean Miller, and I know he didn't have a timeout, so it's hard to draw something up, but I would have loved to seen Xavier get the ball going to Kunkel or Kiki Tandy or Sully Boom. I'd love to see one of those guys catch the ball going towards the rim that they were shooting at and had a dribble, like a speed dribble, at least take a shot more close to half court or just over half court. That's just a little nitpicky thing, but didn't necessarily care for the baseball pass entry.
No, not at all. Let's talk about. I didn't. There's two technicals in this game. I didn't see the second one because I was too busy watching the Virginia Baylor game. But the first one was absolutely ridiculous. Xavier Johnson hits a big time three, right in front of Xavier's bench. He turns around. I don't even know if he even said anything. He turns around just briefly and then turns back around, try to get back on defense. And they call it a fucking technical on him. To me, that's ridiculous. I hate those techs. Just let the player, like, even if he didn't say anything or he did say something, like, he briefly turned and then looked away and started getting towards to be on the defensive side of the ball. Like, to me, that's just a ridiculous tech. It gave Xavier a couple free throws there, or a free throw, and to me, that's just a soft-ass tech, and it's ridiculous. I hate shit like that.
I'm with you. Apparently, and they were trying to make it very clear on the commentary booth tonight that I guess it's a point of contention for referees this year, but that is, you've got so many other things to worry about. It's one thing if a player is obsessive with it or aggressive with it. If you're really up in somebody and you're trying to incite a riot or a fight or something, okay. But man, if you just dunk on somebody or make a big play and you just kind of flex a little bit, like we've talked about it before, the game of basketball is supposed to be fun, and within the realm of fun, no matter what level of game you've came up, there's a lot of shit talking going on, a lot of trash talk. You got to expect some of it. And you can't, I mean, if you make a big dunk on somebody, of course you want to let them know a little bit. And if you're going to tee up everybody for it, and there was another time, Zach Freeman on the second half, I don't know if you were paying attention to the time, he made a dunk and turned around and kind of did a half-hearted flex, and they never called a tech on him. So it's like they're selectively enforcing this rule. I don't like it. If it's obsessive and aggressive, fine. But if it's just like a 2-second, 3-second, just a nice little flex or maybe just a little shit talk, you got to let them be men and grow up.
Yeah, I mean, shit talk is part of the game. Like, it's part of it. You go to a rec league or you go down to the park and you start talking shit with freaking people who's not even playing, just watching on the sideline. So, I mean, shit talking is part of the game. Like,
could you imagine if they did that back in the day with guys like Larry Bird and Gary Payton? And you hear all these documentaries about them, some of the best shit talkers ever in the game history. And could you imagine if referees tried to tee them up for that? The referees would have got their ass beat.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And shout out to our resident former head director of officiating, John Adams, who was live tweeting the game on his Twitter that we had some interactions as well. And he basically was mentioning like, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to start giving techs or players celebrating after a basket, then Drew Timmy would be kicked out of the game for the first couple of minutes of the game for just celebrating after he
It's
scores.
Just another way of trying to take the fun out of the game. But anyways,
not really.
I know you're wanting to move on, and I'm running out of time myself here, but last couple things on Indiana and Xavier. We will recap this in more full detail when we have Phil with us on Sunday's episode 122, so we'll do a full, complete recap. But Indiana only shooting 4 of 12 from 3, 33%. Not great, not terrible. Luckily, didn't need it tonight. Still have to shoot better from 3, have to shoot better from free throws if they are wanting to beat North Carolina, if they're wanting to beat Arizona, Kansas, and win the Big Ten. It will at some point come back and haunt them this year if they cannot start stretching the floor and then hitting their free throws.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, we've talked about it on the podcast. That's the reason I had Xavier winning this game, is if IU can't hit free throws and three-pointers, they're going to be in trouble. But that race for the Big Ten crown this year between IU, Illinois, Michigan State, and then teams like Purdue and Iowa just kind of staying behind there, that's going to be a hell of a run. Can't wait to watch that. But Indiana gets a big road win against Xavier, 81-79. Another big game that just finished. People will probably call it an upset, but I ain't calling it a damn upset. Virginia takes down Baylor 86-79. They was up 57-28 at one point in the second half. Just absolutely blitzing Baylor from the three. And what a game. What a game for the first half. Second half, I got a little bit of out of hand for Baylor. I thought they had the right game plan coming to this game. As soon as guys like Jaden Gardner would catch it on the wing, or Caden Shedder would catch it on the wing, they would always try to force in baseline so they can trap. They was really clogging the paint up. Virginia was having a tough time hitting shots themselves. And it was just a struggle early on. But once they started to figure it out, Tony Bennett, after a TV timeout, made a brilliant adjustment. As soon as he gets someone on the wing, he would flash a guy towards the middle, and that would allow a wide open little mid-range jump shot there. And that's when they started getting going. Their defense started to step up. Baylor, LJ Cryer in the first half had 13 points. Virginia, Caden Shedrick and All-American Franklin both had 8 points apiece. Second half was a total different story, though, because Virginia in the first half, Baylor in the first half shot 7 out of 17 from the three-point line. Second half, they shot 4 of 9. First half of Virginia, 1 of 2 from the three-point line. Second half, 8 of 12 from the three-point line. So
yeah, that's blistering the net.
Baylor blitzed them early in the first half when it comes to three-point shooting. Virginia responded right back in the second half and did more of the same. And that's what won them the game. That and Allman Franklin was probably the best player of the four. 18 points. Hold on. 18 points, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, 3 of 6 from the field. Defensively, he was amazing. He had 3 rebounds. He was probably Virginia's best player in this game, especially in that second half.
Yeah, and real quick on the shooting, both teams really blistered the net from 3. You mentioned it. Virginia goes 9 of 14 for 64%, and then Baylor 11 of 26 for 42%. So that's great 3-point shooting from both teams. Yeah, Armand Franklin, though, 26 points, 4 rebounds, only the 1 assist, but he's too busy. He couldn't get any assists because he was too busy scoring the ball. But no, this is that Virginia style. And Baylor scored 79 because the last 4 minutes or so, they went to a press and was able to speed Virginia up a little bit and hit some threes. Keontae George, the 5-star freshman, was fantastic down the stretch, 20 points. But really, up until about 5 minutes to go, Baylor was under 60 points. And it looked like a prototypical Tony Bennett style win where they are just suffocating you on defense. This game ended up being a little closer scoreline at the end because of all that. But Virginia pretty much put the clamps on Baylor, especially in the second half, no matter what Baylor did. Even getting out to at one point, I think it got up to a 21-point lead. This Virginia team, I know you beat the drum in our magazine and all in the preseason. The Virginia team, if they're going to defend like typical Virginia teams, which they didn't last year, but if they're back to doing that, it's better watch out because Carolina, I'll put it this way real quick, and we'll talk more about it on Sunday. Based upon what we've seen through the first 2 weeks, if you had to re-rank the top of the ACC, would you go Duke or Virginia, and why would you have North Carolina third? Because I don't think that they're playing any better than Duke and Virginia right now.
No, I mean, they're winning games, but they're doing it close. Majority of the game's close, even if they would just pull it away for the last couple of minutes. I mean, they're struggling right now. Pete Nance in his last game did have a good game. I forgot who they played, but, they got to get him going. The defense isn't the greatest right now. And 100%, I mean, if the ACC started right now, my pick to win it, and I'm almost ready to say they're going to win the conference this year, is Virginia. Their defense is just too good. Allman Franklin, I don't think he's going to have another game like this, but I think he can average about 12 points per game and a couple threes per game. If he does that, along with Jaden Gardner, he only had 7 points. Reese Beekman had 10. Ben Vardaplaus, though, that kid is phenomenal. Like, he reminds me a lot of Adam Morrison from Gonzaga, back in the day, because he just stretches it out, hits some shots. He's a tough kid. He's poised,
He looks bigger, too.
He's bigger. He's got that veteran leadership that Virginia needs. Caden Shedrick impressed me a lot. 17 points. He didn't miss us. He was 6 of 6 from the field. 5 of 7 from the free throw line. 3 rebounds. He did foul it out late in the game, but that was when the game was pretty much already iced out. He impressed me a lot. This Virginia team is as good as advertised. This is the reason I was beating the drum in the offseason. I said this is a team that everybody needs to watch out for, because if you start sleeping on Tony Bennett and you sleep on this team, they're going to show you why they're one of the best teams in the nation. And if their defense is rolling and they can continue to hit shots like this, it's over.
No, I completely agree. And they've still, I mean, one test is down. They've still got one other big Texas two-step to finish the Texas series this year. And I think that's in a couple weeks or within the next month for sure before non-conference ends. And they've got Houston, if I'm not mistaken. And that'll be a game. Houston will challenge them. I know we thought Baylor would, but Houston will challenge them, match their defensive intensity, be able to get out and run and score on them. That's going to be another good one when they play. But yeah, Peyton, couple big games. Currently, Michigan State is pulling away from Villanova. It is 55-43 with 9:39 left to go in the second half in that one. So let's see if Villanova can rally. If not, what a big week for Michigan State this has been. What a massive week. We have had some other games I know you're going to talk about, but I will catch everybody on episode 122 Sunday. We will be live streaming on here on the YouTube channel. And if you miss that, we will have the traditional audio podcast available shortly after. It's going to be a loaded show. Got a lot of recap from week 2, and we got to get you ready for Gonzaga and Kentucky Sunday night. Episode 122 is going to be an explosive, big time episode as always. But for me, for tonight, I've got a few other things to do. Peyton, I'm going to let you take this over since it's your show tonight. I'm going to let you take it home, and I will see you guys Sunday.
Yes, sir. Moving on, talk about Baylor. I mean, people's gonna look at this game and there's down 22 points with like under 10 minutes to go, 62-40 at one point. But if you really watch this game and sit down, Baylor's still one of my favorites to win, or to get to the Final Four this year. I mean, they're just tough. I mean, they got guys like Keontae George, who was balling out, had 20 points, 6 of the 15 from the field, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. He started off kind of slow. Matter of fact, first half he only had 6 points. Second half he played a lot better. Especially, he's the reason they ended up getting the lead under double digits late in the game. He was starting hitting some big shots and defensively started to play well. But Baylor's going to be fine. If Virginia doesn't go on that monster 14-0 run to start the second half that they went on, there's an argument to be made that Baylor still comes out victorious in this game. And it's just because of their pedigree. Because Scott Drew, he's a winner. You know, he's a champion. Who's to say last year they wouldn't have went back to back if they could have stayed healthy? I mean, that's no here nor there. They definitely had a good shot to do so. I mean, they almost beat Carolina, almost came back and beat them. But, I mean, Baylor, this is what they do. I mean, even though they shot a hell of a percentage from the three, like Josh mentioned, 11 for 26. They went cold in the second half, though, after they went 7 of 17 from the first half. They're going to be fun. They still got the defense. They still got the championship pedigree. They got in my opinion, still the best backcourt in the country. And I think they need a lot more production from the bench. Guys like Jalen Bridges, only 2 points. Bonner came off the bench, had 4. Caleb Lona did have 11. Didn't miss it. He's 4 for 4 from the field. But they're going to need a lot more production from the bench if they want to get to a Final Four this year. But other than that, great win for Virginia. Expect them to be ranked. I know they play the winner of this UCLA and Illinois game Sunday. So I mean, if they can win that, that's 2 big time top 25 teams that they beat. So look for them to be ranked top 10 this week or this upcoming week for week 3 of our AP top 25 poll. But Virginia's great. They're as good as advertised. Baylor will be just fine. Kansas right now, I know Connor posts about it. Kansas is struggling, I know, against Southern Utah. I'm trying to pull the game up on my second monitor here. Looks like Kansas is still leading, but haven't really kept too much up to date with this because I was watching some other games. But hopefully Kansas can figure this out. You know, in my eyes, I like the idea of going small ball because we kind of have to. Especially with Zach Clemens not being ready to go as that, number 5. Kansas is going to be fine. Right now, they're tied 53-53 with under 12 minutes to go. So, hopefully the JS can pull this one out. If not, then that's not a good loss. But we'll see. Other than that, UCLA, I think they just tipped off, or they're getting ready to tip off here soon. Got a game 3 ready for you guys. I'm going to hop on there and start talking about that game. It's going to be a big matchup. Like I said, the winner of the Illinois-UCLA game will play the winner. We'll play Virginia in the final Sunday, so keep an eye on that. Michigan State right now is putting a beat down on Villanova, 59-43, under 9 minutes to go in the second half. Expect Michigan State to be ranked not only top 25 good, most likely to be top 15. They're probably going to get a bid for me to jump a lot of teams and be top 15 because what a week they've had. They almost beat Gonzaga. They lost to Gonzaga by 1 point. Upset in Kentucky in double overtime in the Champions Classic on Tuesday at Indianapolis. And now pitting a beat down on Villanova, currently up 14 points with close to 8 minutes to go. So what a week for Sparty and Tom Izzo. Never doubt Tom Izzo. I made the mistake of doing so, especially this year. I didn't think they had enough production coming back, especially in the front court. But Malik Hall is playing his ass off. Macy Cisco is doing a hell of a job defensively. And he's providing the production that they need offensively as well. Once they can find their identity, offensive identity, when it comes to hitting shots from like AJ Hogarth and Tyrese Walker, then that's when Michigan State's going to get real dangerous. And that, like I said earlier, that race for the Big Ten this year is going to be a hell of a battle. Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan State. So watch out for that. But other than that, we're going to end this off. I want to watch this UCLA game and keep an eye on that. But thanks y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all tune into the podcast this week. Got another episode out for you, episode 122. Make sure you go order the magazine at etsy.com/shop/ECB-shop10. It is, we're doing a little promotion sale for the month of November. So if you haven't ordered your magazine, make sure you get it done by November 30th. Because after November 30th and the clock strikes midnight and we go into the month of December, then you won't be able to buy the magazine anymore because we will be discontinuing that for the rest of the season. So make sure you go get the magazine. Etsy.com/shop/ECB-shop10. Save you some money. It's back at $5 and get you ready for the college basketball season. Because even though we're getting close to the month of December starting, you'll still need that extra knowledge heading into the rest of the season. So there's none better than the ECB magazine for this year. So go cop that. Thank you all so much for joining in. I need to get some food and get something to drink and get ready to watch this Illinois UCLA game. And I'm out. Later, y'all. Have a good night.